If you're a professional dad over 30 and you think that you need the gym to lose your belly, I'm about to save you hours every week and show you why that's the wrong plan for most men. Because right now, Christian fathers across the world are losing 10 to 35 pounds without doing a single workout. And if you stick with me for the next few minutes, I'll show you the exact 2026 plan that they're following step by step. So that way you can do the same. Hi, I'm Andrew Jacks, founder of Six Pack Dad. I'm a weight loss coach for busy professional dads, the Australian bodybuilding champion, and for the last 20 years, I've helped hundreds of busy Christian fathers lose belly fat, even when they work 50 to 60-hour weeks behind a desk. And here's why this matters. We're called to steward everything that God gives us, including our bodies. And when we're carrying extra weight, running low on energy, and struggling through the week, we're not just hurting ourselves, we're limiting how we actually lead our families, our business, and our community. So today, I'm giving you the exact and simple plan that my clients use to lose belly fat without exercise, and even if nothing else has worked for you before. But before we get started, the first point I need to make clear is that you don't need exercise. I do exercise. However, most dads think that they're overweight and carrying belly fat because they sit at a desk and they do no exercise and that they don't get enough movement, right? That's not the only thing, because if you exercise every day but you skip meals, you eat too much at night, you're still gonna have the fat on you. And if you drink regularly, you don't get enough sleep, you're still gonna be overweight. And not only that, how many people do you actually know are able to maintain a consistent exercise regime for their entire life? I think you can probably count that on one hand, right? And think about how consistent that you've been with exercise yourself and what stopped you. And it usually comes to three things from the people that I've worked with. The first one is a lack of time. Secondly, it's a lack of motivation or discipline. And thirdly, they physically can't do it because they're either injured or they've got some form of pain, whether it be muscular or joint. So exercising is not the first thing that we should be focusing on. Yes, it's great for strength, it's great for fitness, increasing metabolism, has lots of benefits. It's good for aesthetics as well, but it's not the sole answer for fat loss if your habits aren't already steady. So the first thing that we should focus on is fixing the poor habits that we're already doing just by default. We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to drink. And so if we can fix those habits that you're automatically doing as part of life to survive, that's gonna help set you up for life. If you can exercise on top of that, it's a bonus. And that's what I'm gonna go through with you today to help you set up 2026 and beyond, because this is not about fad or strict diets. This is about having a long-term and sustainable solution in order for you to be able to lose weight and keep it off for good, just like it has for me for the past 26 years. So let me give you a quick example. One of my clients, he was a CEO, a dad of 3. He told me he didn't have time to lose weight. He thought that he had to work out and that was the only path. And so we removed exercise completely. We added proper structure to his meals and his daily habits just to start off with. And then within 6 weeks, he actually dropped 22 pounds purely from fixing his daily habits. So I'm gonna show you exactly the 5 simple steps that will help you remove that belly fat automatically in 2026 and beyond too, because I don't want you to have to look at or try another diet or program ever again. Make sure you stay all the way to step 5 because they're all just as important. One on their own won't work. You need to do all 5 together. So let's start off with the plan in 2026 that my clients will be using. Step number 1 is your mindset. It's important to get your mindset right because that's where everything follows. And so your choices need to come through that new mindset, that new identity, that you are now a father, a leader, a role model that makes choices through that new identity as a healthy, lean father, role model, and leader as well. And so we need to set goals too. We need to set goals that are long-term goals and short-term goals with timeframes. That way we know exactly, so we have clear targets to aim for. And then also very important are the reasons why you're wanting to do this. Because if you don't have a strong why, then when you are faced with temptation, your chance of sticking to that will reduce. Your chance of sticking to that, will become a lot harder. And so we need to come up with things like, for some men, it could be not happy with the way they look, their confidence levels, their health levels, they're putting themselves at risk of things like heart disease, stroke, because they might have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. They're on medication for that. which is no good for their body, or even things like not happy with the energy levels they have. It's affecting their performance at work or in their business, especially in the afternoon, and they're not producing as much as they should. Or they get home from work and they're just too tired to play with their kids, and they want to be able to do that, but they're just feeling too lethargic, or not having the fitness levels to play with their kids as they grow up and not participate in the activities that they're doing, like cycling or sports, or just going for a walk because they're too out of puff. So these are strong reasons why you may need to lose weight, and you need to document them out in order for you to be able to push through those challenges and temptations that you might have. So that's step one. Now we have that in place. We then move on to step two. It's important to do these in that order as well. Step two is looking at the lowest hanging fruit. So things like your meals. You should be having 3 per day at least, and that way you're not skipping breakfast, because what can happen when you skip breakfast, it affects your metabolism and you end up eating too much at night time, whether it be snacking or your meal portions are too big. And some people, they get cravings throughout the day and snack throughout the day too on unnecessary things. The other thing is we need to pay attention to our hunger cues to make sure that when we are starting to feel hungry, we actually fuel the body and eat. And only eating up to an 80% fullness level. That way it puts you in that deficit, and that means you don't have to count calories but not feel starving at the same time. And then make sure all your ingredients are lean, so they're low in fat, okay? And make sure that protein is a priority for you, so that protein is the first thing that you should be putting on your plate, and then the rest follows, whether it be carbohydrates and vegetables, those sort of things. And then in between meals, if you are feeling those hunger cues and it's not mealtime yet, it's okay to have a healthy snack in between. And then if you want to let loose one day a week as a part of a reward meal, that's fine to have as well. It's not a cheat meal if it's factored in, if there's purpose to it, and if it's part of your whole plan altogether. As long as you've done well throughout the whole week, you can have that reward meal as well. And then the third step is drinking. It's important to make sure you're fully hydrated with plain water. We don't count things like coffee and juices. It has to be pure water. It can be sparkling, and we need to make sure we're getting around 2.5 to 3 liters a day. And then avoiding sugary drinks, and then also reducing alcohol as well. Not cut it out completely, you don't have to. If that's part of your life, if that's something that you enjoy, then it's okay to have it. You just have to reduce the quantity of it or the frequency of it as well. And find the right balance, so that way you're losing weight but still enjoying your beverage as well. And for me, it's once a week typically. It's maybe on a Saturday night, or like for a Sunday lunch, where I enjoy 1 or 2 scotches myself, and that does me for the whole week. It's my treat for the week, something I look forward to, but I have it in a way where I'm not overdoing it, and I'm still able to maintain my 6-pack from that as well. And then step 4, sleep. So sleep is very important. It's as important as diet, because if everything else is lined up correctly and your sleep's not, it's going to affect your fat loss, because when you're not getting the right amount of sleep, it raises your cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, and that can actually inhibit your fat metabolism. So what's the point in doing everything else and then you're not getting your sleep sorted? The quantity of it is important, so 7 hours on average minimum, and then the quality of it's important too. So making sure that you're having quality sleep, not using your devices in bed, keeping that separate from your sleep environment, and making sure that all your surroundings with the sound, the lighting, and the temperature as well is important for that quality sleep. And if you're a snorer, then losing weight is going to help you reduce the snoring and get better quality sleep. And things like sleep apnea can go away as well when you do lose weight. And now for the last step, step 5. It's planning ahead. So we put everything together. We need to make sure we got either the whole week mapped out or even just one day at a time. But as long as there's some future planning, so that way you're not making the wrong choices at the last minute, which can be the convenient choices, which can be things like the wrong fast foods. Each day at a time, whether it be the night before or the morning of, I recommend the night before. Think about what's happening, or if it's even weekends too, you should be having what we call a battle plan with my clients, is thinking ahead from Thursday already about what's the weekend, is what's happening for this weekend, and what strategies we need to put in place and what boundaries you need to put in place as well. Okay, so what's your biggest takeaway so far? Could you let me know in the comments? I will read every one as well. But man, I want to speak plainly and clearly with you. Our bodies, they're gifts from God. And when we neglect them, we limit our ability to lead our families well. We want to be there for our kids, for their milestones. We want the energy to serve our communities. We want to show our sons what discipline looks like. We want our daughters to see the strength and care in their fathers, right? And this is not just about how you look, that's a bonus, but it's about stewarding your body, right? It's about leadership. It's about legacy, leaving that legacy and passing it on to your family so that way they can benefit from having the best dad possible with their energy levels, with their health, being around longer for them as well, and passing on those habits to them so that way they're not faced with the issue that you currently are, and they can pass it on to their kids, and that way that passes on a generational blessing from one generation to the next. So please take action with what I've said. Make sure you get into it in 2026. Let's make it happen. Let's not keep that vicious cycle of going on a diet, losing weight, and then putting it back on. This is something that sticks. This is something that's sustainable. It's helped over 480 men so far, and it's helped me over the last 26 years maintain a lean physique, even while going through various stages of life. 3 kids, long hours sitting behind this desk. Now I've got a stand-up desk, so that's great. All right. But things like a lot of commitments that I have too. So I'm very time poor, but this is something that works with time poor professionals. And look, if you want to see another example, a real life example of a 47-year-old CEO dad, he's a dad of 5. He lost 8 kilos in 6 weeks, which is about almost 20 pounds, without stepping foot in the gym or giving up his lifestyle. So if you want to watch that video, you can access that right here. And it's an interview where he reveals exactly how he did it while managing his career, his family of 5 kids, and his travel schedule as well as a busy CEO, following this exact plan that I just showed you, right? So watch that now, and thanks for staying to the end. Remember to look after yourself so that way you can look after your family.